Hello, Buglers, and welcome to issue 4182 of the Bugle, audio newspaper for a world that isn't really living its best life right now. Don't judge it. I mean, look at other planets. Jupiter, way bigger, way more resources, but less fun than Earth, even in our current states of rubbishness. So let's not get too down on ourselves. I'm Andy Zoltzman, live from the shed, and joining me from their virtual sheds, or indeed homes, around the world. Firstly, from Australia, Alice Fraser.
Hello, Andy. Hello, Buglers. It's good to be back.
It's nice to have you back, Alice. You're, as always, you're 9, 10 hours further into the month than we are. We've just started February here in Britain. It's looking like it could be the best month of the year so far.
Yeah, I'm
What about
starting to feel
Australia?
like Australia is a little more than 10 hours ahead when it comes to sort of COVID strategy.
What, like a millennium, or? Also joining us from slightly less far in the future, from India, Anuvab Pal.
Hello, Andy. Hello, Alice.
Hello,
Hi,
Annabeth.
Anuvab. How's India? Seems quite lively at the moment in India. From news we will touch on later on in the show.
Yes, it's fantastic, Andy. We have basically decided that we have won the war against Corona because the number of cases have dropped by about 30%. It's a little different than how Australia looks at it because Australia have had 0 cases. And they have gone out to the world and said, we have 0 cases, and therefore we have won the war against Corona. We still have about 40,000 Corona cases a day, but we've won the war against Corona. And the correlation of that is the reason we've done that is because we have won a cricket match against Australia. Apparently, an important cricket match. I'm not a huge fan, Andy.
You
I know
don't need the
that's
word. You don't need the word important in front of that. It's a cricket match. By definition, it's important.
this is
And
a fair point, Andy.
that's the kind of logic that I applied when a guy once asked me out and I said no, and then he dated a GQ model, and I was like, well, I'm hotter than a GQ model then.
Exactly.
We are recording on the 1st of February. It is World Read Aloud Day. So do read something aloud to someone today, whether or not they want you to. To mark this occasion, I've actually written a script for the Bugle this week. Normally, I just smear newsprint all over my eyeballs and just riff it. So here, I've actually written a script for you. Welcome to the Bugle. Remove cloak to reveal new thoracic tattoos of vaccines in Union Jack syringe. Oh, I'm not supposed to read out the stage directions. I forget. Joining M. Tadoy. This is the problem with reading Aluod. It really pamlifies your spelling mistakes. But at least I anticipated tart. Anyway, I think enough. I've pushed that joke quite as far as it needs to go. As always, a section of the Bugle is going straight in the bin. This week, a mental agility supplement, following a report by, any guesses? Yes, scientists, them again, that having a nap in the afternoon could help keep you mentally agile. We have a special Bugle guide to how to be an unstoppable bionic machine of mental agility and productivity without having to give in to the time-stealing demands of sleep. As we've repeatedly said on the show, we are a Bon Jovi worshipping organisation, and we will live whilst we're alive, thanks be to coffee, and kip, nap, and power snooze when we're considerably less alive. Now, obviously, this report on afternoon naps comes at a very awkward time for Britain in the early days of Brexit. We left the EU not just to get a head start on vaccines, but to stop Brussels imposing a compulsory continent-wide siesta. So slightly awkward. But anyway, here's our Bugle guide to other things that can keep you mentally agile. Commit a large crime and then live in constant fear of being exposed for your wrongdoing or hunted down by a vengeful avenger. That really keeps you on your toes, I've found. Our little secret. Or alternatively, take up a new lockdown hobby that stimulates the brain. Perhaps formulate new, coherent, and credible conspiracy theories to spread online. Or create a new religion. That's basically the same thing. Or develop a vaccine for something. That seems to keep people busy who are lucky enough to do it for a living. Or you can make a bucket list of all the things that you would have done over the past year that you've now had to chuck into a metaphorical bucket and tip out of the window like a medieval shit. Also, to keep your mind mentally agile, some brain-enhancing puzzles. Design a 3D snooker table that would work in zero gravity to make long-term intergalactic space travel more bearable. Or give first, middle, and surnames to all your cutlery and kitchen utensils, then try to remember them under cross-examination from a housemate, family member, or freelance online inquisitor. Also, to keep your mind agile, try to remember what life was like in 2019. Yeah. Please also bear in mind that having a nap in the afternoon is not recommended if you do one of the following jobs: Wimbledon finalist, generally an afternoon activity; hostage negotiator, always keep sharp; children's TV presenter, just don't sleep through your key shift; or a Bugle co-host today. That only applies to me. I'm the only one doing it in the afternoon. Top story this week. Well, it's been a week of upheaval, dissatisfaction, and argument around the world. So there's only one place to start. Jewish space laser news now. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Republican congresswoman, has essentially claimed that Jewish space lasers caused wildfires in California. Alice, you are both our Jewish conspiracy correspondent and our space laser correspondent by fortuitous coincidence. Please fill us in on all the gaps in this extraordinary story.
Andy, this is an amazing story. It's got to do with a Republican Congresswoman, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who puts the f***ing into f***ing hell. This woman has been granted power and authority over other people. Yes, not to judge people on how they look, but please pull up a Google image search before the next sentence. Marjorie Taylor Greene looks like a gym teacher high on a shredding supplement that was recalled 6 months ago for causing intense psychological effects, but she doesn't know because she's forgotten how to read. She looks like the worst step-grandmother ever to trick a 90-year-old grandfather into marrying her on a yacht. She looks like the kind of lady who will chase down traumatized school children who survived school shootings and scream in their faces because she'd rather believe in a world where they're evil actors being paid to pretend all their friends are dead. No, wait, that's a real one. She looks like the kind of lady who prefers to believe in Jewish space lasers because she doesn't know what else to believe when presented with the irrefutable evidence of somebody who's clearly describing lightning when they say that the California wildfires seem to be caused by, quote, blue lines coming from the sky. Elon Musk is making monkeys play video games.
Alice, Elon Musk is making monkeys play computer games. It's one of those sentences that is simultaneously, totally unsurprising and gloriously idiotic.
Oh, and it's not even as the way I said it makes it sound better than what it is.
Oh, right, okay.
So this is, Elon Musk, a young man who thinks he can change the world with his money. I know he's not young, but he is immature, and that's valid. He is a man who invented and then drank from the fountain of youth, and all it did was take away his ability to look at a utopian moonshot delicately balanced on the razor's edge of a brutal slide towards dystopia and go, maybe I won't boast about this to everyone. He has just come out and mentioned how one of his many companies has put wires into a monkey's brain and is training this monkey to play video games with its mind.
Right.
Look, you can't help admiring Musk for his ambition. He basically single-handedly gave a cash boost to the incredibly expensive enterprise of hardware prototyping in a world where it's much easier and cheaper to stick with iterating software. Good on him. Also, if this goes well, there could be some life-saving implications for technology. Maybe my issue with this is mainly aesthetic, like, stop bragging about your horrible monkey brain chopping factory. Like primate testing that's really cruel is not the slam dunk cool story bro that you think it is. For every one monkey happily playing Pong with its mind, you've euthanized many, many other presumably less happy monkeys who don't get to spend the rest of their short lives padding your resume because they get swept under the money rug with all your other failures.
So exactly, just in terms of, you know me, Alice, I'm a stickler for scientific detail. Exactly. So it was sticking, was it electrodes just like, is he like jabbing things into the skulls of monkeys or like putting pads on the heads of monkeys? Is he like putting
he says specifically, he describes it as not having wires poking out, but being like a Fitbit that they've inserted into your brain.
Oh, right. Okay, that's different, is it?
Yeah, that's what I need, is a literal buzzing noise in the back of my head telling me I'm getting fat. Like, this is...
It's hard to know what to make of this. It's a hard country to understand, I think. Aung San Suu Kyi, one of the last few decades' great democratic heroes and disappointments, pioneer of the celebrity staycation.
Exactly. I mean, Nobel Peace Prize, if you remember, and
Yeah.
I think that it does affect your stature as a leader, the darling of the liberal world. If you come out and say you don't like a particular religious minority, uh,
Takes the edge off
I
things,
think
doesn't it?
tiny bit it does affect your reputation. And then if you're in the middle of a genocide, when you do nothing, that again, I think, is a tiny bit does affect you. So now that there is a coup, I'd be very interested to know how many countries will jump in to save her. But I mean, of course, Aung San Suu Kyi has shown signs of being a liberal human being. Opposing her is, of course, the generals of Burma. I'm going to mispronounce this, but the junta, the junta, I think they're called. And you know that they're probably not the most liberal of men, because I can't name you a single general of Burma. They just perform as a collective. They don't go out there and say, "Hello, I'm John. This is David." So that is already making me a little suspicious. So I don't know what we're choosing between here. Look, just very quickly, this is a very spiritual moment for me, because this is where I get to explain to my two friends, if I have permission, what short selling is.
Oh yeah,
And
please
if
do.
you
Yeah.
asked Anuvab at the age of 20, would the words short selling and bugle ever come together? I'll tell you no. But I will explain this hopefully in bugle terms. So let us say, Andy, you are the owner of Bugle Enterprises,
Right.
a shop that sells trumpets and bugles in Islington.
Yeah.
And Alice, you are the head of A.R. Fraser and Daughters, the world's largest hedge fund, which is very with it. You come to me, I'm running Paul Capital. It's a brokerage. I run a brokerage, which means you can trade on my website. And you borrow, this is legal, you borrow one share of Bugle, and you sell it for £10. So, Alice, now you have £10, right? But you have to either pay me or give me my share back, because you have borrowed one share. Instead, what you start doing, again, this is legal, you start spreading rumors about the end of trumpets. You start tweeting about who would want to buy a wind instrument in a pandemic, and why Andy runs a terrible trumpet and bugle shop that no one should ever visit. And the price of the stock falls to £2. What you do now is you buy that stock for £2 and you return me my stock, and you have made a profit of £8. Now, this
The
is
way
short
I always
selling.
thought about it is where you have a stock and then you
Yes.
squeeze it till it's shorter.
Yeah, that is a short squeeze.
Oh, the short squeeze. Yeah, because I was reading about the short squeeze, which I think this whole thing basically just come up because people are so desperate for anything that sounds like a hug during lockdown.
Yes.
They've gone for the
Yes.
short squeeze, and the result is a $25 billion bubble, basically the most expensive prank in human history.
That's
I always
correct.
thought short
Now,
squeezes had to do with you doing your Kegels.
they do. It just works slightly differently for hedge funds like A.R. Fraser and Daughters. And I'll tell you very quickly what happened in this instance. What happened in this instance is, for years and years, Alice, you've made your £8, right? And you've made billions of dollars from trumpet companies. Now, suddenly in the middle of this, our friend Ross, who runs Mother Teresa Investments, a YouTube channel that gives the common man stock tips, sees what you're doing, Alice, right? And suddenly decides to counter your rumors about it on his own YouTube videos, live streams, tweets, and bands together other Samaritans. And instead of the stock going to £2, it goes to £1,000. So now, Alice, you've borrowed the stock from me for £10, but you are now at a loss of £998. And you still have to return me my stock, but you have to now pay £998. I'm so excited to be doing this. There's not a single joke in here. £998 that you have to return to me. So you suddenly go nuts and you say, Ross, you can't do this. This is illegal. You can't do this. And Ross says, I absolutely can. I believe in trumpets. I believe in Andy. And suddenly I, Paul Capital, come to you, Ross, and say, sorry, you are no longer allowed to trade on my website because I get commissions from Alice. And because Alice is a billionaire, she takes care of me. She feeds me tikka masala every day. I cannot allow you to trade anymore. And then Ross says, this is not right. I can't just not be allowed to not buy. And what happened with GameStop is common people stormed the Bastille. They went to hedge funds like A.R. Fraser and Daughters and said, "You want to drive a stock down? We'll drive it up." So the hedge fund now has to pay the difference. And the higher the stock goes, the more you have to pay, Alice. And that's a short squeeze.
It's been it's been an exciting week for the super wealthy. They've had their annual World Economic Forum meeting, which usually takes place in the luxury ski resort of Davos in Switzerland. They've had to do it online. It's been described as disappointingly non-luxurious and, quotes, nowhere near as much fun as literally rolling around naked in a pit of gold, giggling. At Davos, these extraordinary words were spoken, and buglers, I'll set you a little multiple choice quiz here. Who said these words at last week's online Davos conference? "Let the torch of multilateralism light up humanity's way forward." Inspiring words, but who said them? Was it A, snooker commentator Dennis Taylor? Was it B, Mexican drug lord and cartel chief executive Ismael El Mayo Garcia? Was it C, Nobel Peace Prize winner Malala Yousafzai? Was it D, a hologram of prominent alleged Christian messiah Jesus Christ? Or was it E, genocide fan Xi Jinping? Send your answers on whatever you want to yourselves. It was, in fact, pens down, Xi Jinping. Well done to the Chinese president for keeping a straight face during that one.